Om Pratasmarami Hridhi Samspuradatmatattvam Satchit Sukham Paramaham Sagatim Turiyam Yat Swapna Jagara Sushuptamaveti Nityam Tad Brahma Nishkalamaham Nacha Bhuta Sangha. Atmabodha verses 6 to 10.
Samsara swapna tulyo hi ragadveshadi sankulaha swakale satyavadbhati prabodhe satyasadbhavet tavat satyam jagadbhati shuktikarajatam yatha yavanna brahma sarvadhishthanamadvayam upadane jaganti parameshware sargasthitilayan yanti budbudani varini Satchidatmanyanusyute nitye Vishnau prakalpitaha vyaktayo vividha sarvaha hatake katakadivat yathakasho hrishikesho nanopadhigato vibhuhu Tadbhedat bhinnavad bhati tannashe kevalo bhave.
You are ignorant of the fact that your existence is dependent upon Brahman. In your ignorance, you believe you are separate. That feeling of separateness is ego. Ego functions at two levels. The moment you're born, there is an ego. The very fact that you believe you are separate from others, that sense of individuality, that sense of separation is ego. In other words, everybody has an ego. What is ego? Ego is that sense of separateness. I am different from others. The problem is not so much that ego. The second expression of ego is you further intensify that feeling. This is me. I am different from others. When you develop that ego even further, then you get into superiority or inferiority complex. And that causes more problems. See, in other words, at the absolute level, you have an ego. The moment you're born, you have an ego. But you develop that ego even further in your life. And the worst thing is, some of you all are thinking, I am not egoistic. What is Bhaskarji saying? I don't understand. I am fine. I'm okay. Maybe he doesn't know me properly. That is the worst. The worst thing is you're not even aware of that ego. Blissfully unaware. So first is that absolute ego. the fact that you are separate from Brahman. You are the self, you are that Atman, you are that all pervading consciousness. You're ignorant of that reality, you're ignorant of your true nature. That causes that separateness, that is ego. On top of it, you further add ego. I think we should do like this. I feel like this. I don't agree. That further ego gets superimposed upon that basic ego. You're adding layers and layers of ego to that basic ego. Now, how do you reduce that ego? You reduce that ego through knowledge of the totality. When you gain the knowledge of the totality, you see how insignificant you are. The whole world is now lying on you, right from childhood, uh, the whole childhood problems, the clearing GCSE, clearing A levels, getting into university, the whole thing, the whole world is themselves. That's all. Everything revolves around that person. I have to get a job. I have to get married. I have to have children. That I and I and I. Throughout your life, the focus is on yourself. The knowledge of the totality, the moment you gain the knowledge of the totality, you understand that you also have a part to play, but the role that you're playing is insignificant. If you were to die today, it will make no difference to anybody except you. It's your attachments which is causing the pain. It won't make any difference to the world. It won't make any difference to anybody. And yet there is that self-importance. See, interesting part is, as I'm saying this, you got to be careful not to slip into inferiority complex. You shouldn't go to the other extreme and say, "Oh, okay, I'm useless. I'm no good. I'm just like an earthworm. That's all. I'm just an earthworm. I'm useless." You don't have to go from one elephant to earthworm, to this extreme to that extreme. You understand? Don't go from superiority complex to inferiority complex. Just understand factually what it is. That's all. Factually, what is it? That's all we're analyzing. So, number one is the knowledge of the totality. See, in other words, you take any unit in the world, any unit in the world is a mix of different roles. You take the country, there is a government which is ruling, but the government cannot rule without its citizens. The government is important, so are the citizens important. Similarly, in a company, there is management and then there is the labor. Without the labor, the management cannot run the company. In a family unit, there is a husband, there is wife, there are children. Each one have a role to play. Just play your role to the best of your ability. Whatever role you're being given, you just play that role. All the world's a stage. All men and women are merely players. They have their exits and entrances. You will exit, you will enter. Whatever role you're given, you play that role. See, the actors, one day they have to play in a romantic role. Understand, one film, it's a romantic role they have to play. Second film is tragedy. Third film is comedy. Each film is a different role. The knowledge of the totality, you understand you have a part to play, but that's it. The whole world is not dependent on you. That whole unit is not dependent on you. Number two, what you can do to reduce that ego is to work for a higher cause. When you work for a cause that is higher than you, your ego gets diluted. Higher in the sense less selfish. Selfishness and ego are BFF. They are buddies. They are BFFs. The older people won't understand what BFF is. Huh? Best friend forever. Okay. BFF. So the selfishness and ego, they are buddies, best buddies. You identify with a larger cause. In other words, when you dedicate your actions to serve the community, your ego gets reduced. You identify with the country, you serve your country, your ego reduces even further. So, larger the identification, less is the ego. Even your own road, your own street, if you take it, so many families are there in your own street. You got your things with yourself, with your family. So have your neighbors got the same things with their self, their family. Big deal. So you're just a member of that street. They used to have that, what is that called? They used to look out for the neighbors, in the street. What is that thing called?
Neighborhood watch.
Sorry?
Neighborhood watch.
That's the one, correct. Neighborhood watch. I don't think anybody does that nowadays because you have the video doorbells nowadays. You understand? There's no neighborhood watch. Earlier, people used to look out, neighbors used to look out. Probably some people still have that, they do it on their own, out of their goodwill. But slowly that spirit dies. So that idea that it's all the same, what I am just a member of this whole street. So when you identify with a larger cause, the self-importance reduces. Your worries, your anxieties reduce. See, suppose there's an earthquake today in UK. Suppose there's an earthquake. All our homes are destroyed. We're all in the streets. Some of us may die, some of us may live. It's all equalized. You understand? Everything we have is gone. We're all in the street. How will it be? That's what I'm saying. See, then there's an equality. You identify. That's the advantage with the generation who went to war. You understand? They had that unity in the society. Everybody went to war together. That spirit of working for the country was there. Sadly, what will happen is someday the country has to go to war to get back that spirit. You understand? That's how nature works. If you don't correct yourself, nature will bring in forces to correct you. So, number one, I gain the knowledge of the totality. And the knowledge of the totality is the knowledge of the scriptures. The scriptures are constantly broadening your understanding. When you broaden your intellect, broaden your understanding, your ego reduces. That's the real solution to reducing the ego. Meanwhile, you can also identify with a larger cause and reduce your selfishness. So in other words, you're coming for the class, you're learning. Yes, you learn it, but what do you do rest of the day? What are you doing rest of the week? You've got to implement this in your daily life. There has to be a structure. You've got to change that structure. Just 1 hour a week is not enough to transform your life. Yes, this is a starting point, but you've got to see what should I do the rest of the week. This is what you should do. Identify with the larger cause. In verse 8, Shankara says, we are just bubbles, like bubbles in water. The worlds arise from, exist in, and dissolve into the Supreme Lord. So you have no independent existence. So even when the bubble is formed, the bubble has water. It is in touch with water. It is made up of water. So before the bubble was formed, there was only water. Now there's a little bit of air which goes into that water to form that bubble. And when the bubble bursts, it goes back into water. So all the way through, your existence is with Brahman. The water represents Brahman. The ocean represents Brahman. Shift that identification. You're identifying with a little bit of air which is trapped inside. That's what you're identifying with. You're saying, this is me, this is my family, my business. It's just that air within that bubble is all that. But you're missing out on the whole expanse of water, the whole Brahman which is everywhere. Shift that identification from the ego to the Supreme Being, to the Supreme Self. And then we were on verse 9. I did say that I'll explain a little bit more on verse 9. Verse 9 reads, the manifested world of plurality is superimposed by imagination upon the eternal, all-pervading Vishnu. See, we got it there. The manifested world of plurality means this entire world which consists of various things, different objects, different beings, plurality, is superimposed by imagination upon the eternal, all-pervading Brahman. Shankara uses Vishnu to represent Brahman. So the base is Brahman. You don't see that Brahman. As a result, you superimpose the world upon Brahman, whose nature is existence, intelligence, just as bangles, etc., are superimposed upon gold. The shape of the bangle, the design of the bangle, the glitter of the bangle is all superimposed upon gold. Gold doesn't have a shape. Gold doesn't have glitter. Gold doesn't have a form. Similarly, Brahman has no form. But you superimpose all this on Brahman because of ignorance of Brahman. See, the same material, which is gold, is manifested in the ornaments. What does the ornament consist of? Ornaments also consist of gold. But what is the difference between ornaments and gold? A different name, a different form. You take a chain, it has a different form, a different name. A bangle has a different form, a different name. An anklet has a different form, a different name, but the essence of all of them are the same material, gold and gold and gold. Similarly, what is the difference between a shirt, a trouser? The shirt is cotton, the trouser is cotton. It's nothing but cotton and cotton. Then what is the difference? In Sanskrit, it's called Nama Rupa. Nama Rupa means name and form. Same cotton material in one form is a shirt, in another form is a trouser. But you don't see cotton. You get carried away by the shape and the form. Similarly, what are different human beings? All the human beings are nothing but Brahman. They are nothing but the same Atman. What is the difference between each one of them? Nama Rupa. See that. Learn few of these Sanskrit words. Nama Rupa. Nama means name. Rupa means form. What is this whole world? Just Nama Rupa. Same Brahman in one form is this world. You understand? See, United Kingdom is one form, one name of Brahman. Saudi Arabia is another name, another form of Brahman. America is another name, another form. India, another name, another form. That's all. It's all essentially it's all Brahman. The worst criminal in the world, the best philanthropist in the world. What are they? Both are Brahman. Then what is the difference between both of them? Nama Rupa. Different name, different form. You hate your boss. Huh? You go to work. You have no choice. You want to earn money. But you hate that fellow, the boss. What do you have to remember? There is no difference between him and me. Same Brahman, different name, different form. If you remember that, you will develop unity with everyone. How do you develop unity with everyone? By remembering that we are all the same. Same Brahman expressed in different name and different form. The essential element is the same. Configuration is different. The permutation and configuration of the same element. When hydrogen combines with oxygen, it produces water. Hydrogen is a combustible gas. They're trying to use hydrogen as a fuel in vehicles. So hydrogen is a combustible gas. Oxygen is a supporter of combustion. Without oxygen, you can't light a fire. You need oxygen. So oxygen is a supporter of combustion. I repeat, hydrogen is a combustible gas. Oxygen is also a gas. It is a supporter of combustion. When hydrogen combines with oxygen, it produces water. What is water? Is a liquid that extinguishes combustion. So how is water created? The same hydrogen, same oxygen when it combines. But the moment it combines, the properties change. Two gases combine to produce liquid. And the properties of the two gases are different from the properties of the liquid. Both the gases are combustible. The liquid extinguishes combustion. It's a miracle. You understand? It's a miracle. Who designed it? Nama Rupa. It's just Nama, different name, different form. Same essential elements. When it is fitted in one way, you get something different. Fitted another way, it gets something different. What is the difference between charcoal and diamond? Both are the same carbon molecules. But when the carbon molecules combine in one form, it produces charcoal, which is worthless. The service station, they don't even keep it inside, they keep it outside. Charcoal is worthless, is soft. Whereas diamond, same carbon molecules in a different form creates a diamond. It's precious, it's hard. is shiny. The properties are different because of the combination, the different permutation and combination of the carbon molecules. Similarly, when Brahman combines in one way, it produces one form, combines in another way, different form is produced. But you X-ray through all these changes and see that underlying Brahman. See, that is a spiritual vision. It's called Jnana Chakshu. Jnana Chakshu means eye of wisdom. What is that eye of wisdom? Eye of wisdom is that X-ray vision. That capacity to X-ray through all these differences and see that underlying reality. Has God created this world? No. Vedanta says no. God has not created the world. Then what is this world? This world is God. Just as the bangle is gold. The world is God. What is the difference between world and God? Nama Rupa. Different name, different form. You know the Rubik's Cube. Rubik's Cube, you see that, when it is jumbled up, and then the person who knows how to do it, they do it. Then you get the Rubik's Cube, one color on each side, nicely done, ready-made. But then when you jumble it, it looks different. Nama Rupa, different name, different form. Your own house, untidy, stuff everywhere. I clean up your whole house. You will wonder, is this my house? You understand? Your own house in one form is so untidy. When it is tidied, you won't even recognize it's your own house. Namarupa, name and form. Four triangles. You take four triangles, two sides of the triangle are equal. When four such triangles, you combine the four triangles, it creates a square. So when you have the triangles, the properties of the triangles are completely different from the properties of the square. So what is the difference between the four triangles and the square? Nama Rupa. Today's class, when your friends ask, hey, what did you learn today? Nama Rupa. That's all. Nothing else I learned. I learned only two words, Nama Rupa. Name and form. Name and form. See that? What is the world? World is God. World is not different from God. The four triangles. You see, each of the triangle has got a right angle, 90 degrees. The other two are not. But in the square, all the four corners have got right angles. Different permutation and combination. That's all, nothing more. The gold is all pervading. Gold has no form, it's everywhere. But when you create an ornament, the ornament has a boundary, it has a form. Similarly, Brahman is all pervading. Brahman has no form. But when you create an ornament, what is an ornament? Ornament is an individual. You and me, the individuals. So this individual has a form. So what is self-realization? Self-realization is melting that ornament. When you melt that ornament, it goes back to gold. That is self-realization. Melting your individuality, melting your ego. dissolving that ego. See, how do they melt it? In the fire. Similarly, in the fire of knowledge, you melt that ego, you dissolve that ego. And then what happens? You merge back with that Brahman. Okay? Let's move on to the next verse, verse number 10.
यथाकाशो हृषीकेशो नानोपाधिगतो विभुः तद्भेदाद्भिन्नवद्भाति तन्नाशे केवलो भवेत् यथाकाशो हृषीकेशो नानोपाधिगतो विभुः तद्भेदाद्भिन्नवद्भाति तन्नाशे केवलो भवेत्.
If Atman is the same in everyone, why is everybody so different? This verse answers that question. So Atman is the same, and yet each one is so different. The reason is the association of Atman with the equipments. That's what the verse says. Like all pervading space, he's giving an example. Like all pervading space, the infinite reality, which is Brahman, appears diverse on account of its association with various equipments. And what are the various equipments? Body, mind, intellect. And becomes one on their destruction. When you transcend the body, mind, intellect, you become one with that Atman, one with that Brahman. Like all pervading space, the infinite reality appears diverse on account of its association with various equipments and becomes one on the destruction. Destruction doesn't mean physical death. It's not that you have to die. That's not destruction of the equipments. Destruction of the equipment means that you're transcending your identity from the body, mind, intellect to the Atman. Shifting that identification, transcending your body, mind, intellect, which is done through knowledge, through understanding. Destruction here means the spiritual destruction, not the material destruction. That's why you have to interpret the scriptures. You can't take it literally. Or it becomes one on the destruction. Oh, fine, I'll commit suicide. I'll destroy, I'll become one with Atman. It's not like that. By committing suicide, your ignorance doesn't go. Your ignorance is still the same. You carry that ignorance into your next life. This life, you're bugging others. Next life, you'll bug other people. Different set of people you'll be bugging. That's the only difference. So suicide doesn't solve the problem. So if anybody has thoughts of suicide, don't waste your time. You don't solve any problem. So what should you do? He says, understand the cause. What is the cause? The cause is the association with your body, mind, and intellect. When Atman associates with the body, mind, intellect, it becomes conditioned. The example which is given here, as every verse, they're giving an example. The example in this verse is like space. We all know there are 5 elements. The 5 elements in their order of subtlety. The subtlest of the 5 elements is space. Grosser than space is air. Grosser than air is fire, and then water, And lastly, earth. Earth is the grossest. Space is the subtlest. Earth is the grossest. All the other four elements rest in space. Where does air exist? Air exists in space. Where does fire exist? In space. Water, earth, where do they exist? In space. So the other four elements exist in space. That's why space is the subtlest of all the other elements. Space is all pervading, number one. Number two, it is indivisible. That's what in the verse he says, like all pervading space. The space is all pervading and it is indivisible. Interestingly, when we say this is bathroom space, this is kitchen space, you say this is living room space, you cannot segregate space. Space is indivisible. Just by building walls, you can't segregate space. For the sake of convenience, we segregate it. So what is the difference between kitchen space, bathroom space, and living room space? Is the air. The air in each space is different, not space. Space is the same. The smell is different. The air is different. Space is indivisible. Space cannot be divided. But because of the association of space with the other elements, air, water, fire, earth, because of its association with the elements, therefore it appears to be divided. Similarly, Brahman appears diverse on its account of its association with the body, mind, intellect. Like the refraction of light in a glass prism. When light is refracted in a glass prism, so you should focus, If you don't focus on what I'm saying, you won't be able to register. So you take a glass prism and you pass colorless light through it. When you pass colorless light through it, on the other side of the glass prism, you get colors. You get the rainbow colors. But if there was no glass prism, you will not get the various colors. You will only have colorless light. But when that colorless light is interrupted by the glass prism, you get the Vibgoric colors. Violet, indigo, blue, green, yellow, orange, red. 7 colors, Vibgoric colors you get. In other words, that colorless light gets conditioned by the glass prism. That pure light becomes conditioned light. Similarly, that pure consciousness, which is another word for Atman. Atman is also known as the pure consciousness. So when that pure consciousness passes through the prism of your body, so what is the prism of your body? Body, mind, intellect. The 3 sides is body, mind, intellect. When that colorless light passes through the prism, similarly, when pure consciousness passes through the body, mind, intellect, you get the various actions in the world. You have actions, you have feelings and emotions and thoughts and ideas. All the different things are coming. Those are all conditioned consciousness. Oh, he's such an active person. It's conditioned consciousness. That is not pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is beyond actions. Pure consciousness is beyond feelings. Pure consciousness beyond thoughts. See the diagram there of how that refraction takes place. The colorless light is compared to the pure consciousness. And then when it hits the glass prism, which is compared to body, mind, intellect, you get the various colors. The various colors represent the various activities that you do, which is all conditioned consciousness. The pluralistic world, the pluralistic actions that you perform. So pure consciousness becomes conditioned consciousness because of its association with what? With your own material equipments, the body, mind, and intellect. The self-realized person also has a body, mind, and intellect. You understand? See, after self-realization, the person doesn't die. The person continues to live. The self-realized person also has a body, mind, intellect. But the identification is not with the body, mind, intellect. You can bring the slide down. The identification is with the Atman. That is the difference between you and a self-realized person. You also have a body, mind, intellect. Self-realized person also has body, mind, intellect. But your identification is with what? Your body, your mind, your intellect. Self-realized person's identification is not with the body, mind, intellect. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna says, I am the self in all beings, he is referring not to his body, mind, intellect. He is referring to that Atman with which he is identified. When Christ says, come to me, I will save thee, he is not referring to his body, mind, intellect. Christ is referring to the Atman within with which he is identified. That's why you don't understand these great prophets. They are talking a different language, you talk a different language. They are talking about the Atman, the self. You're thinking it's not Mr. Christ, it's not Mr. Krishna, it's not Mr. Muhammad. You get attached to their body. But what they are saying is it's not the body, you have to get attached to the self within. Oh, my God is better than your God. My religion is better than your religion. My prophet is better than your prophet. My guru is better than your guru. It's all ignorance. No knowledgeable person talks like that. You shift that identification. See these verses, you've got to read it carefully. Like all pervading space, the infinite reality appears diverse. You understand? It's not that the Atman has become conditioned. How can you condition the Atman? Atman cannot be conditioned. Atman is subtle. The equipments are gross. How can the gross equipments condition that subtle Atman? Is impossible. I'm just saying something and you're all accepting it. Atman is conditioned. You're saying, okay, 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 yes, yes, yes. You would have put up your hand and said, sir, how is this possible? How can Atman be conditioned? It's not possible. Atman cannot be conditioned. It appears diverse. That's the key word. It's not diverse. It's not conditioned. It appears to be conditioned. Because of your ignorance, it appears to be conditioned. And then it becomes one on the destruction. So once you cross over the body, mind, intellect, you see the unconditioned Atman. So the Atman has not become conditioned. It is your ignorance that makes it believe that it has become conditioned. So you don't have to change anything as far as Atman is concerned. You have to remove your ignorance. That's all. Oh, poor Atman. Atman has become conditioned. Atman has not become conditioned. Like all pervading space, the infinite reality appears diverse on its account of its association with various equipments and becomes one on the destruction. You need to learn how to study the scriptures. You understand? So I'm not just teaching you Atmabodha, I'm teaching you how to study these verses. Any scripture you pick up after this, you'll be able to learn it. In fact, interestingly, Muslims, when they come to Vedanta, they say they're able to understand the Quran better. Christians, when they attend these classes, they say they're able to understand their Bible better. So any scripture you'll understand if you know how to interpret the scripture. In one part of the Bible, Christ says, I am the Son and there is Father in heaven. There is my Father in heaven and I'm the Son. Another part of the Bible, Christ says, I and my Father are one. The first statement is Father is different from the Son. Other statement is Father and Son are one. You understand? See, what they're saying is exactly in the scriptures, what they're saying is Atman and Brahman are the same. So Brahman is that all-pervading consciousness, which is Father in heaven. That same all-pervading consciousness, when it is contained in an individual, it's called Atman, which is Christ. So whether it is Atman or Brahman, it is the same pure consciousness. Pure consciousness is indivisible. Therefore, Christ says, me and my Father are one. Atman and Brahman are one. If Christ had written a book, he would have explained all this. He didn't have an opportunity to write a book. The Bible is not written by Christ. If he were to write it himself, he would have written it and explained all this. Okay. Is that clear so far? All right, good. So let's move on to the next verse.
नानोपाधिवशादेव जातिवर्णाश्रमादयः आत्मन्यारोपितास्तो ये रसवर्णादिभेदवत् नानोपाधिवशादेव जातिवर्णाश्रमादयः आत्मन्यारोपितास्तो ये रसवर्णादिभेदवत्.
Only on account of the diverse equipments, caste, color, stage, etc., are superimposed upon Atman, just as different flavors, colors, etc., upon water. The advantage with Atmabodha is that each verse there's an example. And without examples, you can't understand the concepts. Now, what is the example given here? Pure water is colorless, it is tasteless. Pure water has no color, pure water has no taste. It is the additives which give flavor, which give color. The color and flavor is produced by the additives which are added to water. Just as when the electric cars and even the electric buses, they have no sound, but they introduce a sound for the sake of the pedestrians. Similarly, Water has no flavor or taste, but the additives give the flavor and taste and color to water. That is the difference between a Ribena or a Robinson's. What is the difference between Ribena and Robinson's? Same water, but the additives are different. Difference between Coke and Pepsi. Same water, additives are different. Even when you go to the restaurant, they ask, what would you like? Still or sparkling? Yeah, both are water, man. Both are water. A little bit of dissolved carbon dioxide. Dissolved carbon dioxide gas is sparkling water. That's all. Same water. So when you're having a drink, when you're having a Coke, when you're having a Fanta, what happens? You forget that it is water. You're carried away by that flavor. You're carried away by that color. In fact, that's how they're encouraging youngsters to drink water. They put a little bit of flavor and give. Then they drink. Okay, okay. Plain water, they don't want to drink. So, what is the message that is given here? Due to the association with the body, mind, intellect, he's continuing with the same concept from the previous verse. The association with the body, mind, intellect, the qualities are superimposed upon the Atman. The Atman has no qualities. See, for example, you have a name, you have a status, you have your family. Suppose you were to remove your name, you were to remove your status, you were to remove your family, you were to remove your nationality. You keep removing all this. Who are you? You understand? Even your gender, male or female, you remove that as well. Everything you're removing, you're stripping yourself of all this. What are you left with? You're not left with nothing. That is Atman. You believe you're left with nothing. No, it's not nothing. It's Atman. So all these different things are layers which are added on to Atman. That is not your true identity. Your true identity is beyond all these layers. Because of the association with the body, mind, intellect, these qualities are transferred upon the Atman. They are superimposed upon the Atman. Even the various issues which society faces, like sexism, like racism, like homophobia, what is the fundamental cause of it? The wrong identification with the body, mind, intellect. If you become spiritual, all these things disappear. Because you're not identifying with the gender, you're not identifying with the color, you're not identifying with the race. You are superimposing your insecurities, your inadequacies, your imperfection upon others. You don't see them as they are. It is colored by your mind, it is colored by your insecurities. In the verse, the three examples they're giving is jati, varna, and ashrama. Examples of superimpositions. What are the examples of superimposition? First is jati. Jati means caste. In India, in the olden days, there was the caste system. Now, in the West, there's no caste system, but there are other differentiations. There's a class system. There's an upper class, middle class, lower class. There is aristocracy, commoner. There is rich, poor. So various divisions. are covered by that word jati, caste. The caste system, which is given in the Bhagavad Gita, there is a fourfold caste system. What is a fourfold caste system? Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. Brahmana is the priest class. Kshatriya is the warrior class. Vaishya is the trader class. Shudra is the labor class. See that? The caste system. Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Priest, warrior, trader, laborer. This is not based on your birthright. It is based on the composition of the three gunas, sattva, rajas, tamas. Each one has a different composition. In fact, even in one family, each one's composition is different. So in one family, you may get a Brahmana, you may get a Vaishya, you may get a Kshatriya, you may get a Shudra in the same family. Now, don't start looking at your partner. I'm Brahmana. I don't know what she is, what he is. So don't try all those tricks. So the caste system, number one. Number two, he says Varna. Varna is colors, skin color. White, black, brown, yellow. Like I said, the basis of racism is identification with these colors. Then third is the stage, ashrama. Ashrama stages. Now, what is it they are referring to stages? Traditionally, there are 4 stages given, called as 4 ashramas. Varnashrama is called. What are the 4 stages, 4 ashramas? Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. Brahmacharya means a celibate. Grihastha is a householder. Vanaprastha, renunciate. Sannyasi, ascetic. See that? The 4 ashramas. The 4 stages in life. Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, Sannyasi. Celibate, householder, renunciate, and ascetic. You have nothing to do with these stages. You have nothing to do with your skin color. You have nothing to do with the different class or the caste systems. You're beyond all that. Your true nature is that Atman, is the divinity. Find that. Discover that which is beyond all these differences. And you're getting caught up in all these differences, forming various WhatsApp groups. All the WhatsApp groups are groups based on differences. Only on account of the diverse equipments, caste, color, stage, etc., is superimposed upon Atman, just as different flavors, colors, etc., upon water. So we'll stop here for today. Now, there's one more class of Atmabodha, which is next Sunday. The Sunday after that, we are having a Q&A session. And the day after that, I'm flying away to India, which is the 1st of December. So till the end of November, we have classes. And 30th of November is the last day, but that last day we are keeping it as a Q&A session so that all, people from all classes can come for the Q&A session. And there'll be no classes in December. And in the month of December, we'll give you access to past chapters from other classes as well so that you can revise. The plan is to give everyone access to chapter 4 of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9 of the Bhagavad Gita, and the Atmabodha, whatever verses we cover so far. Approximately 15 verses we may cover, you know. So 15 verses of Atmabodha, you will get access. So you can revise that as far as this class is concerned. Wednesday class, chapter 4, you can revise. And Thursday class, chapter 9, you can revise. Even if you don't want to study, we force you to study. We give you access so that you can't escape. You want to study. Yes. Yes, Tushar, bye.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Hari and Bhaskarji. Just quick clarification question around Namrup. So the Atma being the light coming into the prison, but when we say the word Atma itself, is that not a Nam? Like, is that, because I thought, like, how is it transcendental? Or is it only for me to try and, or us to understand the Atma? Because it's still a Nam, right? Like,
If you don't want to use names, then don't pick up the books. Don't read anything. Without using names, how can you explain anything? Huh? What are you trying to say? Hey, that fellow there, sitting with that beige top, looking vacant in somewhere. Who's this guy? Speak. If I talk to you like that, how will you feel? I call you by your name, then you know whom I'm talking to. Hmm? Oh, that fellow with that picture in the background. Who's that fellow? Talk now. I don't use your name. I'm talking like that. How will you feel? Ah. So you go without using name. How can you explain things?
Yeah.
Don't confuse the two levels. At the level of Brahman, it is beyond all that. But at a relative level, you've got to use words. You've got to use concepts. Otherwise, you can't explain it.
So it's okay. It's like a symbol, a signpost for us to comprehend Atman. Thank you.
Suresh,
When do we resume?
in January.
Oh, okay.
I thought he has a very deep question.
It's-
Admin question. Don't ask me admin questions. Admin questions ask the team. Subject questions ask me. Saurabh.
Hari Om Bhaskarji.
Hi.
Bhaskarji, you mentioned that self-realized person does not identify himself with body, mind, and intellect. But we also say that mind and intellect dissolves at the time of self-realization. So this mind and intellect is different from that one, or is it some different thing? I'm just trying to clarify my understanding.
Yes. See, the mind and intellect dissolving means the desires dissolve. Your vasanas are removed. Mind and intellect are ultimately expressions of the desires or the vasanas. So once the vasana is removed, there is no mind and intellect in that sense. But there is still a physical mind and intellect because the self-realized person is still interacting with the world. There's still emotions, there's still thoughts. But those emotions and thoughts are not driven by desires.
Right.
It is just there for him to practically operate in the world. But there is no interest, there's no desire. Oh, I need to love people. I need to communicate this knowledge to others. I need to help others. He has no thoughts like that. He just does what he ought to do. Whatever the
Understood.
person ought to do, the person does it. That's about it. He is not driven by desires. In that sense, he has transcended the mind and intellect. But at a
Understood.
practical level, there is a mind and intellect for the person to operate in the world.
Understood, Bhaskarji. Thank you.
Yes, Sandhya.
Hari Om Bhaskarji. When we say the pure consciousness, when it passes through the prism of body, mind, and intellect, it becomes conditioned consciousness. So the pure consciousness is that Brahman and Atman as one, or
It's the same. See, it's just two different words. That's why I gave that example, Father in heaven and Christ. Christ says both are one. Father in heaven, I and my Father are one. So Atman is the same as Brahman. The difference, I'm repeating again, is when the consciousness is in the individual, we call it as Atman. When the consciousness is pervading everywhere, it is Brahman. But the body cannot divide the consciousness. The world cannot divide the consciousness. Just as space is indivisible, Brahman is also indivisible. So you can't divide Brahman. You can't say that is Brahman, this is Atman. Brahman and Atman are the same.
Thank you, Bhaskarji.
But for the ease of discussion and understanding, we use different names. So,
Hari Om. Thanks, Bhaskarji.
Luna.
Hari Om Bhaskarji. Sorry,
Hari
can
Om.
I ask something which is unrelated to today's class?
Oh, I'm now very scared to. What are you going to ask?
No. I just remember either hearing in class or reading, so I'm sorry if it sounds vague, about Om being both sound and light. And I don't understand that.
No, it's not sound and light. Om has got two significance. Later on in one of the verses, I'll explain that. One is called intonational, other is articulate. See, in other words, it has got a meaning behind it, and it's also got an intonational. Intonational means there's no meaning. There's just the sound. The sound of Om itself transports your mind to the higher. Plus, there is a meaning behind Om. Om consists of A, U, M. A represents waking state. U represents dream state. Im represents deep sleep state. So Om has an intellectual significance. It also has a devotional significance. Directly transports, the sound itself transports you to the divine.
Yes, but there's nothing light related, right?
I'm sorry?
There's nothing to do with light with Om, right?
No.
No, okay. So I must have read that wrong somewhere. Or maybe I had a dream. Sorry. Thank you for explaining again. I do know that those two parts. Thank you.
Sujata.
Hari Om Bhaskarji, I had one question. It's an awkward question. The scriptures often say that the person committing the worst atrocities on earth is Brahman, the one that is the sannyasi is Brahman, and we should view everybody the same. That is difficult. How does one actually manage to view somebody that's committing so much pain?
You can't view it unless you are self-realized. You can't view them the same. See, you can view them the same if you can see the self within you. When you see the self within you, you see the same self in others. Only then you can see everybody as same. Otherwise, you can't see them as same. So you understand that you have to move to a relative standpoint. From the absolute standpoint, you can't understand them as the same. From the relative standpoint, a Belgian writer gives a beautiful way of how you can see a wicked person same as a good person. He says, you see wickedness as goodness bereft of its guide. See, the way he puts it is, happy and blessed hour when wickedness stands forth revealed as goodness bereft of its guide. In other words, what is wickedness? Wickedness is equal to goodness minus guidance. If that person also had the same guidance as you, guidance in the sense your upbringing, your education, your value systems, everything, then that person will be like you. And if you didn't have it, you will be like that person. So if you have that understanding, then it sort of equalizes things.
Thank you.
Is goodness bereft of a guide? That's at the relative level. That's the maximum you can go. But if you want to really see it as the same, you got to see the self within you. Otherwise, you can't see same.
Yeah. Thank you.
Bhaskarji, sorry.
Yes. No, I want to clarify on that point. You see it as same, but you'll have to act differently. So if you deal with a person who's negative, you've got to act according to that. In other words, you've got to protect yourself and your family against that person. You may have to report that person to the police. So the obligation and the action you have to do is very different. Internally, how do you feel? That's all we're talking about in the class, not externally how you act. How you act externally has to be based on social structure. However the society is designed, according to that you have to act. The rules and the norms in the society.
Thank you. Yeah, that clarifies.
Mm-hmm. In other words, a judge passes a sentence and puts the person behind bars, life sentence. Internally, how does a judge feel is a question. There's no hatred, there's no revenge. If a fellow has committed something, he has to go. That's all. But there's no hatred, there's no revenge behind it. In that sense, you see a calmness and equality when you're interacting with the world.
Bhaskarji, the way I understand is that till you reach that stage of self-realization, you have to live, you have to do your obligations, live in this world, right? And go through the world. And at the same time, keep working towards that higher goal to reach. But whatever we feel, we can't think like the self-realized person. I can't think that I am Brahman at the
So
moment.
you're not asked to think that at all.
Yeah.
That's not what the scriptures are saying. In fact, if you try to think like that, you'll get into trouble. You've got to think at your level that I'm at this level, I've got to improve, I've got to develop myself. And whatever best you can do at your level, you've got to do it. You can't emulate a self-realized person.
No, you can't.
Shouldn't emulate. You should act it.
Right. Thank you. We'll miss you. I'll miss you.
Suresh.
I think that was my earlier question about missing December. But anyway, I think you answered my question, because I wanted to know, if you treat everyone as Brahman, then you're vulnerable because someone can take advantage of you.
True. It's not that, exactly. It's not that you become passive. That understanding of seeing equality and the sameness everywhere just gives you that peace of mind, the calmness of mind. And when you have that calmness of mind, it gives you clarity as well. You become clear, you can think clearly, you know exactly how to act, how to relate. So that calmness combines with that clarity. So internally you're calm, externally you're alert and you're active.
Like the snake.
Like the snake, correct. Sunila.
Namaste, Bhaskarji.
Yes,
It is just that if one needs to think that Atman is the same, then still it is expressed differently, maybe with Sattva, Raja, and Tama, which is different in each person.
exactly.
Would you say that?
That's what Shankara has been saying, the association with the equipments. Because of the association with the diverse equipments, each one appears different. The diverse equipments, you can take it as body, mind, intellect. You can take it as sattva, rajas, tamas. You can take it as gross body, subtle body, causal body. Different equipments are there. That's what creates the differences between people.
Thank you.
But the underlying reality is the same. Okay.
Bhaskarji, can I say something?
Yes, ma. Yes, please. Bhadra.
It's Bhadra. I just wanted to point out that there is a poem written by Narsi Mehta, the one who wrote Vaishnava Janato, and he says, Akhila Brahmandama Ek Tum Sri Hari, Jujave Rupe Ananta Bhase. And that whole poem is the gist of your lecture today. So those who want to, know Gujarati, but of course the explanations will be in English as well. It's really worth reading that poem. Thank you.
First of all, try and understand this book, Atmabodha.
Yeah, it is actually Atmabodha. That's why I understood that poem better.
Just stick with these verses first and understand these things. Don't bring in external material right now. Just stick with whatever is being given here.
Guruji is exactly the same material.
I understand there's a lot of things which are same, but if you focus on this, you will learn better. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, that's all. Just digest what is given in these verses. It's not easy to understand these verses. This itself takes a lot of time and effort.
That's why if it is in your own language, for Gujarati, for example, then, those who don't understand Sanskrit or so on, it's easier, Anyway, I don't want to argue with you, Guruji. You're the best. Thank you.
All right, everyone.